Welcome back to a brand new episode of Monster Programming. In today's episode, we're going to be going over some of the best, or my favorite at least, terminal commands that you can use straight away on your Mac without any additions or any installations. Now, these can be used when you're programming things, or if you're just someone who's curious or would like to do things or automate things on your Mac. And without further ado, we can get started straight away. Now, on the left side here, you've got my terminal. This is me. And I'll be showing, every time we go over a specific command, I'll be showing it somewhere on the top over here. At the same time, I created this folder over here called tutorials. This is where we're going to be working and creating things. Inside of that tutorials folder, we've got two different files. So I'll be showing you how to manipulate them and go inside of one and so on. At the moment, I am currently inside of this directory, and the first command that we have is the ls command. Now, the ls command simply stands for list directory, and it's one of my favorites. It's one of the most ones that you're probably going to use because you need to know where you are. So the best way to do this is simply type in ls-a, and once you do that, it's going to be, and maybe I can just reduce this, it's going to be listing basically every other directory or every other folder or file inside of your current directory. For example, if you have a look here, we've got tutorials, public, projects, pictures, music, and so on. And if we go over here, you can see that we also have the same ones: tutorials, public, pictures, projects, and so on. So this simply just lists what's currently available and allows you to know where you can go from there. Now, the second command that we have, and actually we are going to replace it by this one, is the clear command. Now, let's say you want to start fresh and this is a bit cluttered and you want to know exactly where you are. All you need to do in order to remove all this stuff is simply type in clear, click enter, and now it's removed. Now, the best thing is that this straight away clears your entire canvas or your entire terminal, but if for whatever reason you would like access back to this information, you can simply scroll up and you will view everything. But it's just really cool because you get to type it up and it removes everything for you. Now that we've managed to list all the information that we want and at the same time clear things, let's have a look at our second or our third command, which is the change directory command. Now, the change directory command is very important because it allows you to move between different directories. For example, at the moment we're in this directory. If we want to move into the tutorials directory, all we need to do is simply type in cd, which simply stands for change directory, and then type in where we need to go. In our case, we want to go to tutorials. And once I do that, you can see that now it says tutorials. And let's have a go and test if we are actually in tutorials or not. And we're going to use the ls command to check what we can see. So now that I changed directories, I can simply type ls-a, and you can see that we've got two different files, the file and the file 2. And if we go ahead and click on tutorials, you can see that we've got these files, which means we've managed to correctly move to that folder or that directory. Now, a lot of the times you would want to go back to your main directory, which you were at the beginning. And the best way to do this is you can simply use the exact same command, so cd, but add 2 dots. And if I click on that, you can see that tutorials is no longer there. And if I type ls-a, you can see that we're simply back to the main directory over here. Let's jump back into tutorials, and to do that, I'll simply again do cd tutorials, and I'm going to click clear in order to start fresh. Now, another very useful command that we can use is the pwd the print working directory, or the pwd command, and all that does is basically gives you the exact path of where you are. For example, right now I'm in users, David Boulos, and then tutorials. Now, if we again, let's just use terminal. If we do cd ... and then do pwd, you'll see that we're in users David Boulos. So it just gives you the path of where you're actually at the moment. Let's jump back to tutorials. There we go. Now I'm going to clear again. Now, another nice command to know is the make directory command, and this basically allows you to create entire folders from scratch. Now, as you can see, if I go ahead and do ls-a, we currently don't have any folders, we simply have these two files. And if we want to go ahead and create a new folder, and just to explain, let's say we want to create a new folder over here, all you simply need to do is simply type in mkdir, which literally stands for make directory, and then give the name of your folder. In our case, we can give the name David Bullis folder. And after that, if we simply do ls-a, you can see that now we've got a folder over here that's being used. And if we go here, you can see that we've got an empty folder that was created over here. Very simple and nice. Now, another very useful command, which is actually useful now, is let's say you realize this is useless or you want to remove it. Our current command that we're learning is how to remove a directory or a file or anything really. And all you need to do for this one is simply type in rm, which guess what? Stands for remove, and then the name of your file or directory. Now, if it is a file, so let's say it's one of these, all you need to do is simply type in the name and the extension of it. And if I click enter, it will remove it, but I actually do need that file, so I'm not going to delete it. Now, if it is a directory or a folder, what you need to do is type in rm-r and simply the name of that directory. So David Bullis folder. And you can see that we don't get any errors. And now if I do list-a, ls-a, you can see that the folder is no longer there. And if I go ahead to the tutorials folder, you can see that that David Bullis folder has been removed, which is exactly what we are trying to do. Now there's another very useful command, and that is how to rename files or directories. And again, let's go ahead and clear this. Now the best way to do this is simply the following. First, let's go ahead and list what we have. So we've got the file2 and the file. And let's say I want to rename this from the file to this is the file. All I need to do is simply use a command that is called mv, just like this. And this is actually the same command used for moving files. However, for now, we're just going to rename. So I can simply say the mv for move and type in the name with the extension of the file. And then all I need to do that is just leave one space and give it the new name. So in our case, I can say something like new name.xlsx. And I clicked enter. Let's go ahead and look. It has been changed to new name.xlsx. And this is obviously reflected here as well. Let's go ahead and clear this and go to our next command, which is how to create empty files. So files that are empty. And the best way to do this is using a command called touch. Now all you need to do is simply type in touch and the name of your file with the extension. For example, if you simply want to create a text file, then all we need to do is type in simply text.txt and whatever extension name you give it. So let's say it's a Python file. If you type in .py or whatever it is, it will be that kind of file. So if I go ahead and click on enter, and we go over here, you can see that we now have an empty text file that we can just open and edit. And let me just, for more information, let me show you how you can create any other file. So we can say python file.py. And if I go now, you can see that now we've got a py file that we can open with Visual Studio or Xcode or whatever. So this is the best way, in my opinion, to create an empty file. And it's also very efficient, and you can use any sort of file straight away. Now, let's go ahead and clear this. And our other command that we're learning now is the cat command. Now, in my opinion, the cat command is actually very useful because what it does is that it allows you to print or show what's inside of a file inside of your terminal. And the best way to do this or to show this is to go to the simply text, and I'm just going to type some random stuff. I'm going to save that. And let's go ahead and close this. And now let's say we want to see what's inside that file. Well, what we can do is we can actually forgot the name of the file. So let's do this. It's called simply text. All we need to do is simply use the cat command. So I'll say cat simply text.txt. And you can see that straight away it just prints whatever was inside of that file. So it doesn't matter if it was a Python file or a text file or whatever it is. Once you say cat and then simply text, it will simply just concentrate it and print it inside of your terminal straight away. Now, another command that I really like, and it might be useful or not useful for others, is the df command, or the display file system command. And this one simply shows you the usage or the disk space usage of the directory that you're in. For example, if you want to know what exactly tutorials is doing on our computer or our Mac, all we need to do is simply type in df and then -h, and it will tell you everything. So it will tell you where it's mounted, it will tell you how much is being used, how much is available, the capacity, the R3, R used, everything. And this is not it. We can also click cli, and another command that we can use is the du-h, and it will tell you how much memory that file is actually, or that folder or file is actually using. In our case, it's simply 32Ks, which is another very useful command, especially if you really want to know some quick information. Now, the last command that we're going to be showing for today is the zip and unzip command. So I'll be showing you how you can zip folders or files and also unzip them. Now, the best way to do this is, again, we're going to try and zip that simply text file that we created. And all we need to do is simply type in zip, and then we're going to say archive.zip, and then we're going to say simply text.text. So we said zip, that's the command, archive.zip is the command as well, and then simply text.text is simply the name of our file. And I'm going to click on enter, and if we go ahead and look, now we've got the name of the zip. So this is the name of what you want to call the zip file. In our case, we called it archive.zip, and it's now a zip file. Now, what happens if we want to unzip it? Well, all we need to do is simply say unzip, and then the name of the folder or file that we want to unzip. In our case, it was archive.zip, and now replace him. So the content inside was simply .text, so we can simply say yes, and now we've got simply .text as well. And the best thing about this is that it doesn't change this into a zip folder or a zip file, and it doesn't change this into a normal text. It simply creates another one that's a zip version or not. Thanks so much for watching this episode. I hope you did learn or enjoy it, and we'll be using the commands in this tutorial. If you have any feedback or anything you would like to say, please make sure you leave it in the comments, and make sure you do like this video. Hope to see you in the next episode.